a new and an interesting topic. Youngsters face today identity crisis. What are the scientific benefits of learning multiple languages? And let's explore why many top CEOs in the world are Indian origin. So, before we get into the details, you must be wondering why I chose this topic for discussion and what is the importance of identity. Now, I attended a wedding in India where I met my cousin after so many years, and he was telling his 5-year-old son in in our mother tongue to stop calling me appa and call me daddy because you are insulting me in public. I spent a lot of money to send you to English medium school, and hence it's mandatory that you speak to me only in English. So this is very common scenario. You must have heard this in different ways. So when I travel to countries like America also, I see many Indian kids, they don't know which part of India they are originally from or what is their mother tongue. Now, here I must say a few parents do a tremendous job, and we must appreciate their way of upbringing the kids. But a few parents I see are raising their kids as confused because they lack their own identity. Now, these kids in America or outside India, they see themselves as just colored people and they don't appreciate Indian clothes or Indian culture. And few are even ashamed to say that they have Indian parents. And the only language they speak is English. Now, when I ask the reason with the parents or those kids, the reason they give is that they can survive in that country like America if they know just English. And it's really not necessary for them to learn additional languages. That is the reason they usually give. Now, similarly, the parents in India, they think that English language is enough to get them all the jobs and career that they want. And it also, for many parents, gives a false sense of pride if their kids can speak English well. Correct? So, a lot of you may have seen this or experienced this in your friend circle or families. Usually, we tend to ignore it because we don't pay too much attention to it, or we think because it's not that big of a deal. Correct? So, today I'm here to tell you why this is such a big deal today and what are we missing. So this brings us, as always, I'm going to talk about 4 slides, and in the end, I'm going to end with the Yoga Sutra. So what is identity crisis and why is this important? And so this is what we're going to talk. Identity crisis is when children and adolescents struggle to identify their personal understanding of who they are, or simply it's the feeling of sameness with the surrounding. It's just feeling similar with your surrounding. Now there are 2 parts of this identity. One is the genetic identity and the social identity. Now the genetic identity mostly comes from parents, siblings, etc. Now, the social identity, it comes from the environment in which a child grows, like the school, the neighborhood, and everything. So here, if you see it, as parents play a big role in both the social and the genetic identity, correct? And we have to instill pride in our kids about their identity, because every child must understand and accept their race, their ethnicity, and country of origin. Because as an adult, when they grow and start traveling to different parts of the world, they are going to meet different and various kinds of people. And even in that crowd, they must be able to identify themselves, right? And they must be able to stand up for themselves if somebody insults them or pushes them down. Now, that is the power of this identity, and that is where it is very key role. It plays a key role. Now, we want all our kids, right, to become independent, strong, and they should have the strength to handle the problems today. Like the problems today we face are racism, politics at work, bigotry, and they must be able to survive against all these odd situations. So, that cousin's kid of mine who was discouraged from speaking his mother tongue, or the kid in America who doesn't know anything about his or her ethnicity, how will that kid grow up to be an independent and a confident adult? Now, that is the question, right? Because the moment when that person is faced with identity problems, even at work or college or a public place, that person will automatically crumble, because that person is going to be faced with a dilemma. Should I agree and accept that I am a weak race, or should I stand up and fight? Now, that inner confidence that pushes the person to stand up and fight for his or her equality comes from the identity. So that is why this is very crucial. Now, kids who lack such identity, they likely to get more depressed when they travel outside their place or outside their country. So, as parents, it's a very, very important for us to instill pride in those young kids, because they have to know who they are, their color, their race, their origin, their nationality, everything. Now, this does not mean we are against other races and colors or religions. No, not at all. But when our pride is hurt, we must be able to use our defense mechanisms and fight. And not accept the defeat easily, right? So that's another thing why we see depression also among youngsters. So if you look, what does language have to do with this, right? And if you look up on the internet even today, it says Sanskrit is the mother of all languages, and it was invented 5,000 years ago. Now, in India alone, we have 22 official languages and hundreds of dialects. But if you see, the culture is changing today. Now, slowly the local languages are disappearing because of English domination around the world. So, luckily for us, science has come to our rescue, because they have started studying the benefits of learning multiple languages. Now, earlier, when I was a school kid, there were theories that, oh, the child will get confused if the child is taught many languages at a young age. No, that hypothesis is completely wrong. So science has done a lot of studies about children who speak multiple languages, and these are the benefits today that we know from these scientific studies. So I will just quickly go over these 9 points, and you will understand what are the benefits of knowing these several languages. Number 1 is better decision making skills. Now, people who speak a different language, they're able to pick up the subtle nuances and subtleties in a given situation, right? So I'll give you a simple example, like body language and colloquial terms in India are so important, right? Like, for example, if I'm saying, Arey, what are you doing? So the word array, so people will, if they don't know Indian culture, they are going to spell it as ARE. But actually, when you say, it is array, but it is a colloquial term. But if the kid doesn't know anything about the Indian complexity, he's going to read it in English as R, and the whole meaning is changed, right? Even though this is not a word that you see in any dictionary, correct? So in Indian sense, it is just like array means like calling for attention. Array, just come here. So that is the subtleties that we are talking about in learning a language. So a person who appreciates the complexities of the language can make more rational decisions in many areas of life. So that is why it has been seen that monolingual people, or people who speak one language, base their decisions on emotions, and they tend to be more sensitive. Now, coming to the second point, memory. A recent study that was published in American Child Psychology, they showed that learning many languages has a positive effect on the memory, and it is crucial for postponing the development of dementia. Now, they also found that the bilingual children performed much better than monolingual children. Bilingual is children that grow up in families where two languages are spoken, versus children who are monolingual, where only one language is spoken in the house. They have better working memory. Now, what is working memory? Working memory deals with storage and processing of information over a short period of time. Now, this is an intangible benefit of growing up in a country like India, because the child is automatically exposed to more than one language because of the neighborhood, the schools, and the friends and everything, right? Now, here I'm going to just show us quick, simple picture of how complex a brain learns a language. Now, here you see the Broca's area is producing speech. Then we have the Wernicke's area. Here, the green color, that is the one that is understanding the speech. So the Broca's area, the Wernicke's area, and then we have the fibers, the arcuate fibers, that is connecting these two, the production and the understanding. And then we have the auditory, means this is the one that is hearing the sounds and able to produce the sounds. Then we have the motor areas, motor fibers connecting the Broca's and the Wernicke's, because that is the one that is controlling the muscles of your face and the tongue movements, right, to produce the sounds. Now, so simultaneously, we have this many areas of the brain that is working together to learn a language. And this is only to create a working memory, right? This is all just to create a working memory. So there is another thing called saved memory, where all the language that is learned here is stored inside a structure inside the brain, which is called amygdala. Now, that is not shown in this picture because that is deep inside the brain, the center of the brain. That is the memory center of the brain, where all the working memory is stored in the amygdala. Now, this is the one that shrinks in dementia. So I'm just trying to show you like a picture of how many different parts of the brain are involved in learning a language. So, increased attention span. So a bilingual person is accustomed to switching between different languages and is also deciding which is appropriate language to be used in a given situation and which language to be avoided. So in other words, this gives the brain plenty of practice in focusing and filtering the information. For example, if I want to ask water, my brain will think in 5 different ways in 5 different situations because I can speak, read, and write 5 languages. So when I'm at home with my mom, I'm going to say in Tamil, "Enakku thanni venum." But when I'm on the flight, I will say in English, "I need some water." When I'm with my friends, I'll say, "Mujhe pani chahiye." If I'm talking to my nanny, I'm going to say, "Naku neelu kavali." Or if I'm with a different set of friends, I will say in Kannada, "Nanage neeru beku." So the same message is conveyed in 5 different languages, in 5 different scenarios. In other words, I'm using a lot of gray matter to store the same kind of information in the brain. So think of the gray matter as a data storage system in your computer. And your brain is the central processing unit. I'm trying to use the computer words because a lot of people who are watching this will understand it better than the medical terms. So when I speak 5 different languages, I am storing 5 different softwares for the same purpose of language. And at the same time, I know when to constantly switch back and forth between the 5 languages, correct? And what happens sometimes, I can use 2 languages in the same sentence. For example, bahut bindas this girl is, So if you are from India, you will automatically understand the nature or complexity of the person that I'm referring to, right? Even though it is just a one simple sentence, it delivers a lot of emotions. So this is the way to increase the attention span. Now, multitasking. Speaking 2 languages and switching between them makes you better at multitasking too. So this should not come as a surprise because most of our CEOs are Indian origin. and they did not grow up outside India. They all have grown up, they grew up and did basic education inside India, and they may have traveled later on as adults to different parts of the world, and they became very successful. So you must be familiar with all these names. We have Sundar Pichai from Google, Shanta, he's from Chennai, Ms. Shantanu Narayan from Hyderabad, Satya Nadella of Microsoft from Hyderabad, Ajay Pal Singh from Pune. So these people, they are famous CEOs because of their intelligence and the way they multitask better than their peers who spoke only English, probably. And again, I want to emphasize that just because you know multiple languages does not assure you a good position at work. No. But by learning them, it has helped in their early brain development, and it has paved an opportunity for them to stand apart from other professionals and competitors in their field. So when it comes to multitasking, for example, each of these will have to be able to handle their customers' requirements. They have to handle their competitors in their fields. They have to handle the thousands and millions of employees working for them. And at the same time, they have to remember their wife's birthday, because that is also very important, right? So that is where the multitasking comes. And so when me and my husband decided to have kids, even before we decided, we had made up our mind that we are going to talk our mother tongue at home, and we will make all efforts to teach them as many languages as possible. Because most schools today, as you know, they focus more on math and science. So kids initially will hesitate, they will say, oh, my friends are laughing, or I'm embarrassed to speak another language. But slowly they will understand and come around, because when they know that their parents are really serious about learning languages, they will also learn and start speaking. So increased perceptual sensitivity. The next point, what is perceptual sensitivity? When the babies are raised in houses with two languages, where they speak two languages, they will find it easier to learn other languages later in life. Why? Because as a result, they are able to distinguish between the different sounds early on. For example, if you're a child and you're exposed to one language, say for example English, you will be assuming that all languages are starting from A to Z. And that's not true, right? Because in Indian languages, we have our first letter is not A, but it is A. And A can be written as A, and so many different ways. So I'm not saying that English is a bad language. Please don't mistake me, because today I am able to reach all of you on social media because I'm speaking English. But this is also a good platform for you to understand that other languages are important, especially for the child's early development. Now, for better cognitive abilities. Now, bilingual children, they have studied, and they seem to score better on tests of reading, verbal fluency, and intelligence, all of which undoubtedly make them better students. So interestingly, this is true even for adults who begin to learn a foreign language. So even they can benefit from these increased cognitive abilities if you learn a new language as an adult. Now, this again explains why the kids who are Indian born do extremely well wherever they travel around the world with their careers. Right? They could be even a simple taxi driver or a CEO, but they are doing well for themselves. Now, it definitely contributes to their growth and intelligence in a large way. Learning multiple languages has helped them in their intelligence, and young parents need to understand this point. Now, coming to the next one. Improves first language. So when kids learn multiple languages, they they learn better the first language. For example, if the first language is English and they learn other languages, they start to appreciate the English better. They learn to become better writers, speakers, and communicators. And they learn And as you know, learning a language is one of the most difficult tasks for a human being, and it distinguishes them from other species, right? Because other species on the planet don't speak this many languages like how we do. So imagine how much more intelligent you will feel when you learn more than one language. That is why it is said that learning a language is like having another window to look at the world around you. And it opens a wide set of opportunities, new friends, new jobs, new relationships, etc. Now, the next point is bigger size of the brain. A group of Swedish scientists, they did an MRI on certain parts of the brain, and they found that people who learn multiple language or foreign languages have bigger size brains because they are storing more memory and more data in the brain. So I will show you a picture of how the bigger size brain is important in the study of dementia. Now, the final point is it delays the onset of dementia because of all the other points that we just discussed. And scientists have found that people who speak more than one language tend to develop dementia 5 years later than the monolingual people. Now, for people who don't know what is dementia, this is a disease that occurs in old age, around 60 years, and they have problems with memory loss. They have difficulty in multitasking. They have confusion. They have problems with speaking and writing. Now, all of these, which we have seen that multilinguals are better in doing. So, speaking more than one language provides a constant exercise of all these points and helps in delaying the dementia. So, it should not come as a surprise when you understand how it works. So doctors today in America are actually encouraging their parents to speak their mother tongue. And they even if the English is the primary language in school, we advise the parents to simply teach them other languages like your mother tongue or other languages that you know, to expose the children to as many languages as possible because it is better for the child's brain growth and development. Now, if you see here's a picture. I want to show you how you can appreciate. This is the Alzheimer's dementia brain, and this is the healthy brain. You can see how much more bigger it is compared to this. Here you see a shrunken brain, and even the neural connections. This is what the neural connections will look inside the brain. Here, if you see, the connections are very sharp and crisp, and here, if you see, you have lot of damages and plaques and all that. So this is how a dementia brain looks. And this is the healthy brain. And this is more of the gray matter or more of the memory storage in this. So now many of you have messaged me asking about my identity, like where am I from and, which part of the world. So I want to tell here live on Facebook that I am a proud Indian, and this is what this is a small poem I wrote about my identity. I have brown skin, and I know it's beautiful. Racist remarks don't affect me anymore. I eat using my hands and not with a piece of metal, because I respect what is on my plate more. I can speak and write many Indian languages. So what if others criticize my accent? I grew up surrounded by complex religions, yet I believed in just one mantra of Om. Yes, I'm a proud sari-clad Indian woman. No one can change that, and it's in my core. So this will give you an idea of my identity. And I studied in India. I studied MBBS in India. All my education was in India. Then I did my master's degree in America. But now I am working online and helping all the many people worldwide. So thank you so much for all the love. And here is a picture of me in sari. It is on my website also. So I have a lot of collections of dresses, salwars and jeans. But the joy I get when I wear sari is just unbelievable. So, if you want to see more of my pictures, you can visit my website. And finally, I want to show you the picture of the Delhi airport. It's very interesting how Here you can see the Surya Namaskar that has been displayed in the Delhi airport. So I don't know any other airport or any other country that can boast of so many languages and dialects and festivals and believing in yoga like this. So I'm a very proud Indian, and I celebrate my identity every day. And let's teach our kids also to celebrate their identity, no matter which country you're from. You try to teach something every day to your kids about your country, about your nationality, about your ethnicity, and let's instill pride in them. So this brings us to our Yoga Sutra. Drag darsana saktyor ekatmata iva asmita. Let me repeat. Drag darsana saktyor ekatmata iva asmita. Confusing the immutable core with the transient shell is referred to as identification with the mutable. So confusing the immutable core. So the core that is inside you cannot be destroyed. So let's not confuse that with the transient shell that is outside, what we see outside. Because what we see outside can be destroyed, but what is inside you, the core, cannot be destroyed. So that is what the sutra says. Thank you once again, and this is my website. If you want to know more about me, go to authorsahila.com, and we'll meet again with another topic next time. Thank you.